Beep, beep, boop, boop, beep, beep. What's going on, everyone? I'm Sam Lazarus, creative director for Rokoko. Gotta get myself a beanie on here so I don't look... Got my reputation to uphold. Although it's starting to hurt my ears. Yeah, welcome to another Rokoko Office Hours. This is a time when we're live. We're here to talk about motion capture questions that you might have or workflow issues. And today we are going to go through some of the Mocap workflows and advice I'd have for people who are getting started with Clint's new challenge, Eternal Ascent, which is really exciting. And which Rokoko, I think I'm in this video. Look at me. Whose hand? That's some smart gloves. Rokoko's in the prize list. We're giving out a new coil. Super exciting. So yeah, today we are just going to go through and play around with some of the motion capture, talk about how to retarget to custom characters in all of the scenes. What's going on, Samster? And I'm actually also going to be going on to Clint's stream. I think on Saturday, might be on Friday. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about this on his as well, to kind of give people an idea of how to get started, because I think for a lot of people, motion capture is going to be something that they may have never done before, played with before. And so it's important. Oh my gosh, this is so loud. Let me turn this thing down. It's important that people kind of have a good place to start. So I figured that's what we would do today. So yeah, so let's just hop into it. I think it might be kind of a shorter stream because I just want to make this very short and concise and to the point. But yeah, if you don't know, we are going to be talking about Eternal Ascent, which is Clint's new new challenge, right? So the idea is that you're given a template scene that you customize, and then it's a montage that he releases of all of them at the end, and they all kind of match. And so he's given out motion capture. What's going on, Sasha? In the project files. I actually have I think he's going to be adding another file. But in the description of this video, I have a link to a clean Eternal Ascent motion capture file that starts from a T-pose. So that might make it a little bit easier for people to do retargeting when it comes to Cinema 4D and Blender and Maya. When it comes to Unreal, that's kind of its own thing. That project is kind of set up and ready to go already. He just released a 3ds Max setup. So those we're not going to mess with. We're going to go through the Unreal workflow, but we're not going to... I didn't need to create like a custom motion capture bit for it. But let's go through it. So today we're going to talk about Unreal. We're going to talk about Cinema 4D, and we're going to talk about Blender. So I'm just going to go through very... let's start here, actually. Let's go to the Rokoko YouTube. The Rokoko YouTube channel. So if you go to the Rokoko YouTube channel, we have a ton of tutorial videos already up that go through retargeting in all of the different softwares. So ultimate retargeting workflows. This playlist has tutorial videos in pretty much all of the different softwares. Yeah, when is Clint's? Let's go to the Pwnisher. Is it? No, I think it might be Saturday, Sasha. I'm not sure when it's going to be. It's either tomorrow or Saturday. But actually, it's probably on the Discord. Friday. Okay, so it is tomorrow. Yep, it's tomorrow. So, but it'll be ready for playback, Sasha. But yes, this playlist is a great place to start. It's got tons of tutorials in all of the, for all the different softwares. This is pretty much has most of the answers that you might need. So this is a good place to find information about how to do retargeting. That being said, let's go in and let's start with Cinema 4D. And let me know if the audio is like too loud or anything. Let me turn that down a little bit. Okay, so here we have Cinema 4D, and let me actually go and here's the template that Clint gave out for Cinema. And the thing that can be tricky about retargeting in Cinema 4D is you really need to have frame 0 or the frame that you're doing your retargeting on. You want both your mesh, your character, and your motion capture to be in the same pose and hopefully in the same orientation. So if we go to actually frame -1, you can see that there is a T pose on this character. But that being said, the what I would recommend for retargeting is instead grabbing this motion capture file that I have in the link of this video. In the description of this video, there's a link to a motion capture file, and let's go and grab it. And I've already downloaded it, but it's called Ascent Mocap Mixamo Skeleton. And if we import this, you can see that on frame, and let's turn on the work plane, frame 0, we have a T pose. And this animation goes to frame 120 in the template project that Clint has. It only goes to frame 119, and that's because frame 0 here is a T pose, right? So you're gonna need to shift your animation back by 1 frame. But let's go and I'm gonna turn off all this stuff from Clint's, and let's just retarget this motion capture to a character. Now we're going to use a Mixamo character because I think that is the most useful and broadest kind of stroke for most people who are going to be doing this contest. I mean, if you know enough to not be using a Mixamo character, you probably need a little bit less help when it comes to retargeting. So I'm trying to base this towards people who might need the most help, right? So let's go and let's like do a Mixamo. Let's actually go and, create a new character from Mixamo. So we're going to auto rig a character. And I'm sure I have a character that I prepped. For Mixamo. So this is a character mesh that was not rigged, that's just a mesh. And I'm taking it, I'm uploading it to Mixamo. The reason I am doing this from a Mixamo download is that Mixamo can be tricky in terms of naming convention, in terms of things that get changed. Even if you're buying a character from a marketplace and it says it has a Mixamo skeleton, sometimes things will get screwed up, especially if it's going between programs. Like colons can turn into my mind is blanking today, but colons can turn into different types of symbols, and things can get screwed up on the naming convention side. So the easiest thing is to take a character that's downloaded directly from Mixamo and hasn't been touched too much. That being said, you can always go in and you can make changes, but for the purposes of this, we're going to be I want to show you this process working in a foolproof way from a character that's downloaded from Mixamo. Once you take it into Blender and you start messing with it, and then you re-export it into Unreal, other things can happen during that process that I won't be able to cover in every situation, I can show you how this works when you are downloading a character like directly from Mixamo. So that's what we're doing. Is it an underscore? I guess it is. I don't know. It doesn't sound. I guess I've said underscore. That was on the tip of my tongue, and I feel like I've said underscore too much recently, maybe, and it like lost meaning for me. This is an underscore, right? Yeah, it's pretty much an underscore. Okay, so here we go. We have a character. This is just a mesh, and we're gonna go and we're gonna use the Mixamo auto rigger. There we go. Next, and we'll just let it do its thing. I feel like my video is very blue too. Still eternally working out the best settings. Oh, I miss my red beanie, but I don't have one in this room. So we're going to take this Mixamo character, and this is the Mixamo character we're going to use for our Cinema 4D workflow we're about to go through, for our Blender workflow that we're about to go through, and we'll also use this for a Mixamo control rig workflow in Unreal that uses a free control rig asset from Gabriel Pava from ArtStation, which is in this tab right here. We'll go over that when we get to the Unreal portion of this live stream. What's going on? No red beanie. I know, Alberto, no red beanie. Not today. And I might even have to take this beanie off because I've been wearing beanies too much and my ears are starting to get hot. That'll happen when you wear beanies all the time. Your ears get a little heated. So this is taking a hot second, kind of annoying, sorry. But I do think it's good to show this process in its entirety. Because I feel like that's the best way to do it. So bear with me while this does its thing. It's auto rigging. It's just got a lot of polygons probably. It's not even that high poly of a character. There we go. Okay. And look, it looks good, right? Let's say this looks good. Boom, we're done. Okay, so what we're gonna do from this point is, this is how it will come in, but we want to go and we want to search for a T-pose, click T-pose. Nothing seemed to change, but you do want to actually click on T-pose as the animation that's being applied to this, right? Then we're gonna download this guy. Then we're going to put it on the desktop. No, we're going to put it into our project files for this office hours. What a good idea. What a nice, clean idea. There we go. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to rename this download from Mixamo. Let's call it Cyberboy Mixamo rigged, right? And then we're going to drag it into our Cinema 4D scene. I don't want to reassign selected takes. Takes are bad. You don't really want to mess with takes generally. I like to go into the take tab and uncheck the lock overrides. But now that we've got this in here, what we've got, and again, this is the template file, and I've just gone and hidden all of the other assets in here, because I think the easiest way to do this is to retarget your mocap to your character and then position that in space correctly, and I think that's just a lot easier of a way to do it. So what we're going to do, the way we're going to retarget this, is basically just follow the same workflow that we have in the Rokoko tutorials for Cinema 4D. It's very simple, but very limited in Cinema 4D. So here we have our motion capture. And I'm actually going to extend the timeline out one. So we have 120 frames plus the, and frame 0 is the T-pose, right? They're both in T-poses. And to retarget this motion capture, on the motion capture hips, I'm going to right click, go to rigging tags, character definition. Then I'm going to open the manager and click extract skeleton. Now, because this is a Mixamo mocap skeleton, which is why I'm providing that asset, right, in the description down below, and why Clint's going to add it in the Discord, is because this, like, Mixamo named skeletons, especially in Cinema 4D, they tend to just play better with the tools in Cinema. For example, this extracted, we just hit extract skeleton, and look, it went and assigned all the correct bones to where they should be from our mocap. And we just want to keep it as easy as possible. So then I'm going to hit set reference pose. You can see this is all defined. That's great. Now for our character, we're going to go to their hips, which again is a Mixamo character, so it's also named Mixamo rig hips. Right click, rigging tags, character definition. Then on that tag with it selected, open manager. And again, this is a Mixamo rigged character. We hit extract skeleton. It extracts perfectly. Easy. Click set reference pose, which I always like to do. And now what we're going to do is on our character's character definition tag, there's a lot of similar words being thrown around, which is kind of confusing. But on our character's character definition tag, hit create solver. And then we're going to drag in the character definition tag from our motion capture to this source character field. And once we've done that, our mocap is perfectly retargeted. Looks great, easy, boom, done. Now, how do I go about and get this into position in the template project? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is this. Let's look at the hip bone on our motion capture. You can see, look at all these keyframes on every frame. That is the mocap animation on the bone, right? On the bone of our motion capture. If we click on the hips of our character, there are no keyframes. And that's because our character is being moved around through the scene by this referencing system of the character definition tags, right? The character definition on my character is just saying, hey, or rather the character solver tag, right, on my character's bones. It's saying, hey, target character is my character, is Cyberboy. Source character is my motion capture. Like, transfer the motion, but it's not actually keyframed on our character. That means if we delete our motion capture or alter our motion capture in any way, it will have an effect on our character, which is not what we want. We want our character and its rig to be keyframed and to be standalone. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to select all the bones in my character's skeleton. So we can right click on the top bone, which in this case is the hips, go to select children. You can see it selected every single bone on my character. And then if we go to window, dope sheet, I hate how it docks it here, so I'm going to undock it. And we go to functions, bake objects. I'm going to uncheck create copy, and we hit OK. And this is going to bake from the in to the out point on our timeline all of those keyframes down. Now if we click on our hips, look, on our character, it's keyframed. I can delete my motion capture from the scene entirely. I can delete these tags. It doesn't matter because now we've actually baked down that mocap. And I could even take this character. I can do this in another project file, right? And I can transfer, if I create a new project, and I copy my character, sure, and I make sure it's in the right FPS and everything, that animation comes through. So this is a much cleaner way of just doing this in a way that now I can move this character between projects, it's animated, it all works, right? So let's go back to our template scene and let's reveal everything again, including our character. And you can see we've got our character here. And the first frame is a T-pose. So one thing that I am going to do is right click on my character skeleton, select children. I'm going to expand out my timeline a little bit because I want to shift this all back a single frame so that it matches the mocap in the scene. So if I shift this one frame, there we go. Now we go back to 119 the same way it was in the template when we first opened it up. Now these guys are perfectly in lockstep, right? And now it's really easy. I'm going to create a null hero character, right? Turn off enable axis. And let's just move this guy into position. And look at this. We have, oh no. I've been in the the camera the whole time. Let's see if, I don't know if Cinema will have enough memory. No. Let's open up a new version, actually. Here we go. Let's paste our character, right? So that was the same thing we just did in that other project. I moved it into position. Looks like he's not quite moved into position. This enable axis thing is so annoying. But yeah, I mean, at this point, now you're just doing a lot of other stuff, right, to make it look the way that you want. But the important thing is, we have gone, and let's hide our character from Clint. Look, we got our motion capture in the scene. It's all working. It's all looking good. Bada boom, bada bing. Yeah, so this is how you do it in Cinema. Now, if you want to go further with this, we have a control rig workflow that is also in that link. Let's go to Cinema 4D. I'm not going to go through this right now, but if you're using a Mixamo character, there is a workflow that will allow you to create an IK control rig. Now, an IK control rig is amazing. Let's look at what's happening here again. So you can see that you can move endpoint bones. IK is inverse kinematic, and what it means is that basically I can move around like a wrist, and the rest of the arm is going to follow. That makes editing motion capture very easy. The other way to edit motion capture is in an FK or forward kinematic method. And that means that we have to go down the line, and we're going to turn off geometry only. And if we want to move the position of the left wrist, we can't just move the left wrist. We have to move the upper arm, then we have to move the forearm, and then we move the wrist into position. We can't just drag the wrist up here and the arm will follow, right? We have to move them one at a time. Now, and you can see, because there are keyframes, it makes it very difficult to do additive animation. But if we did want to add or do some mocap editing on this character, what we can do is use Cinema 4D's non-linear animation layer system, which is the worst of all of them when it comes to Blender or Unreal, really, or certainly Maya. Maya's the best at doing all of this stuff. But it is possible. So the way that you use that, let's say that we wanted to, for this animation, I wanted him to look up at a certain point. But I didn't want to delete the I wanted him to bend his chest over, but I didn't want to lose the mocap that was already here on this character. Well, the way I can do that is select the hips, the top level of your character when it comes to animation. So in this case, it's the hips, right? Everything is below that of its skeleton. We go to animate, add motion clip. We're going to uncheck remove included animation from original object. There we go. And now I've got this motion clip tag. So using this tag, timeline, hit open in TL, it'll open up here. See, we've got all of the animation for our character in this one bar. Look, I can move it around and I can change the pace, where the timing of it, things like that. But more importantly, what I can do is look at the keyframes down here. I've got my hips selected, right? I open up my motion clip tab, and I'm gonna hit add. And as soon as I hit add, all those keyframes have disappeared. Now, does that mean that my animation isn't working anymore? No, my animation is still working. But what it means is that now we are free to go in and add animation on top of what's already there. So click on the spine. And right here, I want my character to bend down. And then here by the end, I want my character to go back up. I just copied that original keyframe we made. And now look, now we have got, oh, and golly, did I not? No, okay, we're still in here. Now I've added this animation on top of the mocap that was already there. So you can use this principle, and this is the same principle we're going to be using in Blender and in Unreal, to do additive motion capture editing on top of the mocap you already have. So there we go. That's the Cinema 4D workflow. Let's leave it there, and let's hop into Blender and go through it in Blender. No, I don't want to save the changes. No. You can see I'm working on mine. No. Yes. Okay. So here we are in Blender. And for this workflow, I recommend we have a Rokoko retargeting plugin. It also does live streaming. You can download it for free. If you go to the Rokoko YouTube channel, we have a video that covers all of this. We have links to the plugins and how to install them and things like that. So I'm going to be using the Rokoko plugin, which again is free. You do need a Rokoko ID. You just need to sign in, but you can create an ID for free. And this has a retargeting section that will allow us to retarget our motion capture. Then we're going to be using you can also, I recommend picking up the Auto Rig Pro plugin with the additional Quick Rig add-on. This is a paid plugin on the Blender Marketplace, but it's really amazing for motion capture because it allows you can do retargeting in here. They call it remapping. Excuse my ASMR swallowing. But more importantly, you can add control rigs, and even it's pretty easy to set up custom control rigs too, IK control rigs. So that's what we're going to be doing here, which is so freaking awesome. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to make sure the frame rate of my scene is 24. I'm not actually going to open up. I don't know Blender very well, so I'm just going to go through the retargeting workflow. I'm not even going to try messing with the template in Blender. But all of this is you can do this in any Blender project, right? You just need these plugins. And we're also going to talk about the animation. Wait. Oh, the animation layer thing hasn't even popped up because I don't have any animation in my scene. But first thing we'll do, let's go and let's import our character FBX. Cyberboy, this is the Mixamo character that we created on Mixamo. Whenever I'm importing characters or motion capture into Blender, import FBX, and then under armature, make sure you have automatic bone orientation checked. It just makes things cleaner and better. Boom, look at this, looking super cool, looking super rad. Okay, now what we need is we need our motion capture. So again, I've linked to this motion capture asset in the description down below. Clint is going to be adding it to the Discord, so it should be findable. But essentially, it is just a clean motion capture file rigged to the Mixamo skeleton of the mocap for the project. Import FBX. Make sure automatic bone orientation is checked. Excuse my burps. And here is the motion capture, right? Looks good. So to retarget this motion capture, well, before we get started, actually, there is a thing in Blender. Okay, interesting. That it makes it very difficult. Basically, when you're retargeting in Blender, or really anytime, you want your motion capture, your character, and your mocap to both have their rest position as a T-pose. This character, if we actually go to edit mode, you can see that this is its rest position. This is the mesh's like true position, essentially, if you take off any bones. And so this, ideally, when we went to edit mode, this would not change. In the tutorials that I have on YouTube, I have methods for making sure that the T-pose is actually the rest position. Again, I'm not a Blender person. There are other ways to do it in Blender. Honestly, the way that works best for me, in my experience, is using the Cats plugin to set as rest pose. But it's in the tutorial that I have. So check that out. If you're having issues with this, like the rest pose of your character is actually an A pose or something, that's kind of a whole other thing. But this should be fine for this. And in this tutorial, I'm going to assume that they're both in T poses. So I can delete don't need that camera. So now I'm going to go to the Rokoko plugin under source. Which one is my mocap? My mocap is armature 01. So I'm going to go to, again, T pose frame 0, source armature 01. So source of the animation, right? It's our motion capture, armature 01. Target, it's our character, which is just armature in this case. Build bone list. Now, because these are both Mixamo, I've got a Mixamo rigged character, I've got Mixamo rigged mocap, it's gonna build bone list like right off the bat correctly. If you're using a custom character, you can still use the Rokoko plugin to do your retargeting. You could also use the Auto Rig Pro plugin. There's other ways to do it, other plugins. But in the Rokoko one, and generally, you always have to go in and make sure that this bone list matches. And essentially, we're telling Blender, hey, on the mocap animation for the left shoulder bone, transfer that to the character's left shoulder bone. And if it doesn't automatically populate this list, you just go in and you make sure it matches, right? I go in, I find the one that matches, and I match it up. And so, but because these are Mixamo, they all did it perfectly, and now we just hit retarget animation. Easy. You can see because my character was not in a perfect T-pose, it looks funny when I do the retargeting, but it's done it for the most part. It's got the offsets that were there because its rest pose was not in a T-pose. Now that we've done this, I'm going to delete my motion capture. And we've got our character rigged. And I will actually go through a control rig workflow here because it's so amazingly easy to create an IK control rig using the quick rig system in Auto Rig Pro. So I'm going to select my armature. And the other thing is we would probably have to move all of this back one frame. Again, remember, we're going to have to move all this back one frame. But I'm going to select my armature, and then under Quick Rig, down here, Quick Rig, select my armature, go to Import Mixamo, and look what it's done. It's gone in, and assuming this is a Mixamo imported character, like directly from the Mixamo download, this should kind of work automatically. If it doesn't, you go in, leg left, right? You got to go in and you got to define which is the left leg, which you can go, and you would go to the rig of your character. If you had custom naming conventions, you would like, let's go find, where's the left leg? Where's the left leg? Left leg, thigh, left up leg. And we would, here, let's delete this. Thigh, left up leg, click it, dropper, drops it in, right? So you go through and you would define this all. But in our case, because it was Mixamo, it all happened on its own. Now if we hit Quick Rig, we can choose what type of animation types we want. In this case, I want the arms to be IK. I like IK arms. There's lots of reasons you might not want to do IK arms. Under animation, I'm also going to go to bake, because I want to bake my animation down to my IK control rig. Click OK. And look at what we got here. Holy bejesus. How easy was this? Actually, we do need to be in pose mode. IK freaking control rig. So awesome and amazing. Now you might notice any changes we make, they're not going to stick. And at this point, this is when we start using our animation layer system. So this is another paid plugin. It's called Animation Layers on the Blender Marketplace. It's in that tutorial I have on the YouTube. Turn it on. I'm going to go back up. And I'm going to, actually, I don't think I even need to have anything. I just need to add a new layer. Anim layer. So on this layer, you can see, again, we ain't got no keyframes anymore, again. So if we wanted to make some changes, add a keyframe, hit S. Let's move this. Let's add a keyframe. Uh-oh, what did I do? I think I have to go, where is it? I have to select the rig. Character rig. No, hold on. Oh no. Let me delete, wait, hold on. I actually deleted the animation somehow. We might have to go back and redo this quickly. I'll go back and silly me. So yeah, this process is fraught with issues, especially when you barely know what you're doing in Blender. But let's do it without me going on a tangent, which normally it makes it easier for me to do it correctly. Eternal Ascent. We got our character, armature, automatic bone orientation, check, check. Then let's go and import our motion capture, import FBX, import the Mocap, which is in here. Again, it's in the link in the description. Oh. Boom, we got our motion capture, Rokoko, retargeting, source, armature, build bone list, retarget animation, boom, all works. Delete our motion capture, don't need it. Then let's go and move everything back one frame. Now let's go to Auto Rig Pro, Quick Rig, import Mixamo. It's all filled out correctly. Quick Rig, bake animation, IK arms, okay. Looks great. And now while I'm just on here, I'm gonna select turn animation layers on. I don't know what I have selected, but like everything is selected, so it all looks good. Hit plus. So now I still have, if I go between these, you can see on the base layer, I've got all my base animation, but on my anim layer, S to add a keyframe, S to add a keyframe. Like if I need to animate something, let's have him turn. And these are IK hands, so maybe you don't want this. But you can see that turn, right? So now let's animate the head a little bit. Maybe he's like looking up. Oh my God, there's something happening up above. Look, and this is added on top of the animation that we already have. That's insane, obviously. But oh my God, he's looking up. And by this point, whoa, looking up, whatever it is. You know, that's all very bad animation, but the other thing that this will be very useful for, I imagine, is when people are building their environments and you want to change, you know, maybe like the steps you've made are a little bit higher. I could go in, add a keyframe. When the foot comes down, it's like, no, it should really be here. Right? And okay, on this step, it's like, oh, this comes back. Even though it's like, oh, maybe it needs to be like planted a little bit differently so it's not intersecting. Right? So you can make changes. Those I imagine will be super useful. So yeah, that's the Blender workflow. Boom, 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 2 down. Pretty good. Let's move on to to Unreal. Yeah. So for Unreal, what I'm going to do is we're going to go to Eternal Ascent. We're going to go to those starter files. I'm going to create a new folder here. Office hours EA. Copy all this. Oh, you know what? I'm not actually going to copy this. I want to do a completely fresh. So this is the .zip that you download. And I'm gonna extract it so we can start from scratch. So exactly what comes in the Unreal Engine template file. So let's rename this Office Hours EA and open it up. Gotta change my background. Yeah. So for Unreal, we're gonna go through. There's a couple different things at play, depending on the type of character that you're using. It's easier if you're using a character that is already rigged to the Unreal Engine 4 or 5 skeleton, because what Clint has done is that if you go into the Eternal Ascent files, and you go into Mocap, we already have the motion capture on the UE4 and the UE5 skeleton. You have to retime it in Sequencer, but it's already here on these skeletons, and that makes it very easy to get it onto a character that shares those skeletons. Now, if we go to the Unreal Marketplace, almost all the characters that you find on the Unreal Marketplace, at least, will share the UE 4 or 5 skeleton, which makes it very easy to get motion capture onto there. Now, if they don't share the UE 4 or 5 skeleton, that's fine. We're going to go through a workflow for that too, but it's just more steps and it's a little bit more annoying, unfortunately. So in this case, all of these characters will share the skeleton because I got them on the Unreal Marketplace. What's going on, Nick Shaheen? Good to see you. iClone 8. We have a workflow on YouTube about iClone. I'm not going to go through that because essentially I don't think that there's a template file in Clint's contest for iClone. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that there isn't. I think that, yeah, and I think that the way that you would, if you're in iClone, you can use the tutorial that we have on YouTube. But I think what most people would be using reallusion for is character creator and getting a character from character creator and then going into Unreal or going into Blender. That might not be the case for you. You might be doing it in iClone. iClone is amazing, but a lot of people export out a character. And in that case, you just have a custom character essentially with a custom skeleton, naming convention, and setup. And so you need to, in Unreal, you need to go through the IK retargeting system, which we're going to do. It won't work as cleanly as this, right? Right now, at least, we're just talking about how to do this if you happen to have a character that is already rigged to the Unreal skeletons. So in this case, let's grab this knight character that I have. There's also in this template file under characters, Clint has already imported the third person feature pack, and that means that you get access to the mannequin files, but also retargeting and IK rigs for the mannequins. So this will come into play later when we're doing some of those other custom character workflows. But here, I've got my character from the Unreal Marketplace. Let's say that we're looking at Judy. And hold on, I got to make sure that we're looking good here. So this is a character that's already rigged, right, to the Epic skeleton. But what we need to do is we need to go to the skeleton tab of this skeletal mesh, and then we need to go to Window, Asset Details, Compatible Skeletons. We need to make sure that Unreal understands that this character is compatible with the UE4 skeleton, which I know it is because I got it off the Epic Marketplace store. They will say explicitly in the description, it's compatible with UE4 skeleton, UE5 skeleton. In this case, we have animation from both, but this character is UE4, I know. So I'm setting up the UE4 skeleton. Hit save. Now, after I've done that, we're on easy street, baby. Let's go into the Eternal Ascent sequences, open up the sequence. Look, here we go. Here it is. So how do we get our character here? Well, Shift-C to go in and out of the camera view of the sequence. Let's go to our content browser. Let's grab our knight character, which again, we have told Unreal Engine is compatible with UE4 skeleton mocap. Then let's drag our character into the sequencer, under animation, we can just go EA Mocap. It just shows up right there. And yes, we do need to retime this so that I'm just dragging on this right, so it starts at the right time. But there we go. And at this point, we just got to move her into place. Look at this. There we go. Done. So that is very, very simple to do. Looping. And I'm actually just going to delete the character, make it hidden in game, and we can turn on our physics, actually get some physics simulation. Look at this, looks super cool, right? Done. Boom, bada boom, bada bing. So that is the Unreal workflow for mocap retargeting if you have a character that shares the skeleton with the UE4 or UE5. Now, what if you don't have a character that shares the skeleton with the UE4 or the UE5? Well, the next example that I can think of is well, actually, before we get to that, let's go over once again how to, if you do have a character that is UE4 or UE5 and you want to do mocap editing, what I recommend is going and if you go to the Unreal workflow video on Rokoko Studio, you can get access to our free resources pack, which I'm going to add to the description of this video right now. There we go. And this is a free resource pack that has a bunch of different things in it, but one of the most important things is from Alberto Flores, who's actually in the chat right now, I think, who is a Discord mod for us and is just an amazing Unreal person. And it has a control rig for UE4 characters. Again, I would watch the tutorial that I have on the Rokoko YouTube channel, but essentially what you can do is if I go and I copy this Rokoko resources folder into the content folder of my project, and it comes as a .zip, and there's a folder in there, take it out, put it in the content folder of your Unreal project. Let's go to the content browser. And we go to content. Look, Rokoko resources. And assuming that you have the Unreal mannequins in your project already, which we do, this should all pop up and be ready to rock. You can see if we open up this Unreal mannequin here, essentially what this thing will do is it will auto match. It'll auto adjust to any character rigged with the UE4 compatible skeleton. So for example, our knight character, UE4 compatible skeleton. And that means we can use it to create an IK control rig for this character, which is really freaking awesome. The way that we do that is we just right click on our character, bake to control rig. Look, this thing shows up, create, it's baked, it bakes to the in and out of your sequence, and similar to what we were looking at in Blender, it is an IK system. Look, moving the leg around and moving the foot around, the whole leg goes with it. because all of these nulls and all of these controls are keyframed already, we can just go mannequin. Oh, am I blocking this? I'm blocking this. But we can go to this mannequin control rig layer. This is all of our control rig. Hit plus, create an additive layer. And now, let's say we needed to go add a keyframe and we've added some terrain where it kind of, oh, look, even here. Look at, even here. So actually, let me delete this keyframe. This is not quite flush. So let's adjust this. Add a keyframe. Oh, I'm on, whoops. I'm on frame, I wasn't in the right thing. But let's add a keyframe right here. Now, well, that looks pretty good, but let's say we had different terrain and we needed to adjust this slightly, right? Add a keyframe. And if we don't like the foot sliding, which gets very tedious to be correcting all the time, but we could, right? Kind of account for that. Like, oh, I don't like this intersection. I don't know why you would ever get this granular in this project, because you won't be able to see this, but we could make adjustments. Right? Oh, it doesn't land properly. I'm hitting S to add new keyframes. Boom. And you can do some really easy adjustments here. Now, it gets even cooler with this particular control rig because you can do things like slave the hands together. So in this case, let's say I want my character to be like holding something in front of them. I'm actually going to go and grab all of the arm keyframes. So I'm gonna do this vibe here. Anything with an arm, lower arm twist, kill him. Hand, left hand control, kill it. Right hand control, and you'll see what I'm doing in a second. So now I just have no animation here. What I'm going to do is grab this hand, add a keyframe, add a keyframe, and there's like lots of different ways to do this. Add a keyframe. I actually think it would be better to like do this before the control rig section if you wanted to do it this way. Like you would just delete all the animation and pose the arms in the right place and then bake it to a control rig, but we're doing it this way. Add a keyframe. Let's say we want to do this. So this is shitty again, but let's say the hand is out front like that. What we can do is go to the right hand slave, blend this up to 1, then click on it, position this right by the left hand. Let's say it's like carrying a flag or something, which is what I want to have happen. look at the hands. They are now locked together. This is just a really cool workflow. And we could even go in and, like, obviously these elbows look a little bit weird, so we can grab these elbows, change the pivots out. Look what we got. We got a character with their hands out in front of them, holding something, whatever. Super cool workflow. Really, really cool control rig workflow. Okay, so that's what we do if we have a character that is compatible with those skeletons. Now let's go and grab our Mixamo character and do the same thing with that. So Mixamo character, and we're gonna go import, and we're gonna go back to Eternal Ascent, office hours, Cyberboy, Mixamo rigged, right? We are going to not import animations. We're not going to set the skeleton to anything. We're going to import all. Okay. So now we've got our Mixamo character right here. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to retarget. How do we retarget the motion capture that we have in the Eternal Ascent files? How do we retarget this onto our Mixamo character? Well, it's not as easy as if it would be if they were compatible, but it's still not that painful. The first thing that we need to do, because we're going to use the IK retargeting system, we need to go to our Mixamo character. We need to go and create an IK rig for our Mixamo character. We're going to call this Mixamo care. Actually, we're going to call it IK rig mix care. And under preview skeletal mesh, we're going to select our Mixamo character here. And we now need to create an IK rig. This isn't impossible or that difficult, but it is a little bit more annoying than what we did before. Basically, the way that we do this is we go and this is all covered in the tutorial A on YouTube. First thing we're going to do is right click on the hips, set retarget root. Then I'm going to select this 3 spine modes, new IK goal, no, sorry. Let's undo that. The spine bones, new retarget chain, spine, add chain, boom. Neck and head, new retarget chain, add chain, head. Left shoulder to left hand, new retarget chain, left arm. Left thumb, let's rename this left thumb. We're going to do this for real. This is a little bit annoying. We're going to do it for real. New retarget chain. These don't name automatically. Left index, add chain. Let's say that's enough. We're not going to do all the fingers, but we'll do the arms. New retarget chain, right arm. Left leg to left toe base, new retarget chain, add chain. Right leg to right toe base, new retarget chain. So here I've got a bunch of chains that are defined by the bones, the start bone and the end bone. I'm going to save this. Another thing we can do is add an IK retargeting system, but I'm not going to go through that for the purposes of what we're doing here. But it is in that tutorial that I have on YouTube of how to do that, and that will help with foot sliding slightly. But now, what we can do is, because we already have under rigs, retarget UE4. We already have an IK rig, this same rig set up for the mannequin, which our mocap is on. In here, I'm going to go and I'm going to change left arm to start with the shoulder. Same thing that we did on our Mixamo character. We went from the shoulder to the hand on the arms. And then I'm going to delete a lot of these twist things. We basically don't need any of these. We don't need the root. We don't need the clavicle, and this should be good. But you can see our chain names are actually matching the same one that we set up for our Mixamo characters. So this is going to make them play nicely. So now, when we go to our Mixamo character, and let's go in this folder, create an IK retargeter. IK retarget mix care. Open it up. Under source IK asset, IK UE4, which came with it, and under target, Mixamo. There we go. I can offset these so we can kind of see what we're doing here. Now the last thing that now if we go right here, you can see we have a list of animations. Here's the EA mocap. Again, because there's already motion capture on this guy, it shows up in here. And if we double click it, oh, interesting. What's happening? Oh, okay. I don't know why it wasn't playing. Weird. Oh. Yeah, okay, anyway. Yeah. I think this is what it is. There's just not a lot of motion in the... Yeah, okay. Normally it's just reversed. That's interesting. But yeah, what we're going to do is we are going to... So they're in different poses. So we need to match the poses. So if we go to Source, Edit Retarget Pose. And in here, now I can go, and I need to kind of make this into the same pose as my character. They need to be matching. So I'm going to eyeball this. Of course, you can get a lot more accurate with how you do this. But essentially, these guys need to be matching in how they are oriented. I think that should fix it. Well, let's see. Yeah, and there we go. So now everything looks good. Okay, it is playing. I don't know why it's not playing, but it should be playing fine. So now we can retarget this animation. So we go to export selected animations. I like to add it into the same folder that my character lives in. So Mixamo character, let's export it. And at this point, we can go and add our character into the sequencer. So let's add our Mixamo character right here. Let's add him into sequencer. If we go to plus on the animation, look, the animation's right here. Look at that, looks great. Let's match it up. Boom. Let's move him into place. And now we have retargeted our mocap onto a Mixamo rigged character. The challenge is we just had the judging session. We have the top 5 winners, Clint, Ian, and Tim. It was super fun. We go through and we watch the top 100. We're just editing it down right now. We literally did the judging on Tuesday, and we're going to release that video in a second. So we're just getting rid of the bathroom breaks that we had during it. But we got the winners, so we'll be announcing the winners, I don't know when, next week? Maybe Monday, Tuesday, something like that. Super amazing results on the challenge. Crazy. And then we'll put out the full montage soon. And then once the main render people are out, the breakdown and the community challenge results are coming out soon. We just needed to know who won. The main render won because you can't win 2 categories, so we needed to eliminate the people who were in the main render winners. But yeah, it's coming out soon, AG. And then Doug, to what extent does the quill result in higher fidelity body mocap? It doesn't. I mean, it results in higher fidelity hand placement mocap, and to a certain extent that affects the body. The body is still being run by the inertial motion capture system in the suit. So it doesn't change that. It will prevent global drift of the body. That's one thing it does, is it prevents the body from drifting globally. But that doesn't mean that foot placement will be better or something like that. You still need to go through and edit foot contacts. And so it improves the motion capture quality of the body, but it's mostly about the hands, which is really where it matters in terms of fidelity. When it comes to the Smart Suit Pro 2, that's where it's most off. So like that's what it fixes. I hope that is the that answers your question. But yeah, look at this. We've got our character, and now we can go in and delete our, or let's just actor hidden in game. Oh no, did I do this all during simulation? Oh, so none of this got added? Yeah, cool. There we go. But let's go and make her hidden. And we've got our Mixamo character. So yeah, looks cool. So what if we wanted to use an IK control rig for this guy? Well, actually, there does exist a free IK control rig for Mixamo characters. It was put out by someone named Gabriel Pava, who's really awesome. Fabrizio Moraes went through this workflow when we had him on the live stream for our contest. And this is what he used to do control rig editing of his motion capture for a Mixamo character. But we can use this. If you go into ArtStation, you download this. Let me put this in the description of this video as well. Mixamo UE5 control rig. There we go. This is free, and the way that this works is let's go and let's grab it, and what we need to do is we need to copy it into the content folder of our Unreal project. Let's drop it in. As soon as I go back to Unreal, go back up to content, and we have control rig, characters, Mixamo. We have this Mixamo control rig. And you can see it's set up with the Ybot. But what you can do, as long as you've downloaded your character from Mixamo, like if you're going directly from the character you've downloaded in Mixamo, you should just be able to replace this skeletal mesh and have it all, auto match. So even though it was a different dimensions and proportions from the Ybot, it still like auto worked, which is really freaking cool. Because it means you can have very weirdly dimensioned Mixamo characters, and this is still going to work right out the bag. Now that only works if those naming conventions are exactly the same. So I've actually, when I've gone in and made changes to Mixamo downloaded characters. Excuse me. Talking so much like makes me winded. I have to yawn. When I've gone and downloaded Mixamo characters and then gone and like made changes to them in Cinema 4D, there's a tendency for like subtle changes in naming convention to happen, and this won't work anymore auto. You'll have to like go in and change a bunch of things. In this case, this character we got directly from Mixamo, and so it just works. And what we can do is now we can right click, bake to control rig, Mixamo control rig pops right up, create, and now we've got that same system of being able to manipulate things in an IK fashion really easily. And again, we need to create an additive layer on the control rig because I've made changes, but you can see as soon as I go back, they're there's keyframes on all these nulls already. So we need to go and add an additive layer on here. And then in here, I can go in and start. Again, I think the foot contact is a really good example of this. So let's grab this guy, S to create a keyframe. Let's adjust the feet slightly. Like, let's say I wanted to get really granular about the foot contacts. I could edit, move this a little bit. And then, there's movement. So maybe I need to go in and change this. And it is super common to get foot sliding issues between characters that have different proportions, especially leg proportions. Right? But there we go. Fix some of that really easily. And it looks like I guess there's no clipping. But if we were getting clipping on the leg, we would just go in and we could adjust the leg position. And it's just a really easy way to do some motion capture editing. Really freaking cool. Does this have any shoulder controls? Looks like it doesn't. But yeah, so that is how you go in and you use a custom control rig to edit some Mixamo mocap data. So really, really cool different workflows, and tried to cover them all a little bit. We'll be going into this in more depth on Clint's stream tomorrow. I think we're going to call it here. I kind of did everything that I wanted to do today. But yeah, that is how it all kind of works. Ugh. Sorry, I got up for an early meeting too. Maybe that's what it is. I need more coffee. Thanks for joining, everyone. Hopefully you found this to be useful. I'm going to go in and try and time marker out when we worked on different things in a second. But yeah, that is a bunch of different workflows for working with motion capture in Blender, Cinema 4D, and Unreal. And if you have more questions, join Clint's stream tomorrow. We're going to be live. We're going to be going through everything, and it should be a blast. So, okay, I'm going to leave you all there, and have a good weekend, and maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Bye, guys. See you, Tara. See you, Alberto.